Every time passengers shuffle down a jet bridge, odds are at least one of these 9 mistakes is about to happen. At first glance, they seem harmless, maybe even routine. But they're the very things that make airlines quietly smile. Why? Because these slip-ups either save airlines money, cut down on effort, or open the door for new ways to profit. Meanwhile, travelers end up uncomfortable, frustrated, or worse, putting health and safety at risk. Flight attendants see these mistakes play out daily, and while they can't call them out every time, the truth is that airlines benefit when passengers don't know any better. This isn't about shaming travelers. Everyone has been there. This is about lifting the curtain, sharing what really happens at 30,000 feet, and making sure the next trip feels more like travel and less like survival. Buckle up, because once these 9 airline-loved mistakes are uncovered, flights will never feel the same again. Mistake 1. Closing the overhead air vent. The small nozzle above each seat looks like a simple comfort tool, a way to stop feeling chilly on a plane that often feels like an icebox. Many passengers shut it off immediately, assuming it blocks germs and helps them warm up. The irony is that doing this kills the very thing designed to protect them. That gentle stream of air is heavily filtered through HEPA systems, eliminating over 99% of airborne bacteria and viruses. What it really does is create an invisible air shield around each seat, pushing floating particles away and down to the cabin floor. In other words, it's the passenger's personal force field. But when travelers switch it off, they're left breathing whatever lingers in the shared cabin. Airlines aren't going to rush in to explain this, though. Why? Because ignorance costs them nothing. It means fewer complaints about feeling cold and no need to invest in extra passenger education. For them, it's a win. For travelers, it's a lost chance at cleaner air and a healthier flight. Mistake 2. Wearing shorts on flights. Comfort is always the first thing people think about when picking outfits for a long flight. Shorts feel like the obvious choice, light and easy. But that bare skin has direct contact with a seat fabric that's rarely deep cleaned. Think about it. Hundreds of passengers sit there week after week, leaving behind sweat, crumbs, spills, and more unpleasant traces. Airlines don't advertise that the cleaning process between flights is minimal. Wiping down tray tables and picking up trash takes priority. Seats, on the other hand, get much less attention. When passengers wear shorts, it isn't the airline that suffers. They save money by not scheduling extensive seat cleanings after every trip. The discomfort and risk fall directly on the passenger. All the airline has to do is keep turning flights quickly. So when a traveler chooses shorts, airlines quietly benefit by avoiding the extra cost of keeping every seat spotless. Mistake 3. Stashing items in the seat back pocket. That stretchy pocket in front of every seat looks like a convenient storage space. Phones, books, snacks, even wipes often end up in there. But this pocket is really the airplane's junk drawer, and flight attendants know exactly how bad it gets. They've pulled out everything from used tissues and gum wrappers to dirty diapers. Here's the catch: seat back pockets are rarely cleaned properly. It takes time and labor that airlines would rather skip to keep planes on schedule. By encouraging passengers to use them freely, airlines avoid the cost of deep sanitation. Items tossed inside pick up germs from whatever lived there before, but that's not the airline's problem. For the traveler, it's like putting belongings into a stranger's trash can. For the airline, it's just another way to cut costs while keeping the flight moving. Mistake 4. Falling asleep before takeoff. Few things feel better than nodding off the second the seatbelt clicks, but sleeping before the wheels even leave the ground is risky. Takeoff and landing are the most critical phases of any flight. In the rare case of an emergency, being asleep means losing precious seconds to react. On top of that, rapid pressure changes during ascent can wreak havoc on ears if the body isn't awake enough to swallow or yawn to equalize pressure. Here's the twist: airlines don't discourage this. The less awake and aware passengers are, the fewer questions, the fewer requests, and the smoother the boarding process feels for the crew. Airlines benefit from passengers slipping into sleep early because it makes the entire takeoff process calmer from their perspective. Comfort and safety for travelers take a back seat to efficiency for the airline. What's even more telling is how silence during boarding helps airlines move faster. When passengers are asleep, they aren't pressing call buttons, asking for extra blankets, or slowing down crew members with requests. Fewer interruptions mean attendants can focus on preparing the cabin quickly and getting the plane out on time, which is a top priority. On-time departures save airlines money and help avoid fines from delays. So while a passenger is dozing off, thinking they've secured a cozy head start on rest, the airline quietly benefits from the reduced workload. Even safety briefings become easier to breeze through when half the cabin is half asleep, as fewer passengers notice if something important gets skipped. It all adds up to smoother operations for the airline, while the traveler unknowingly sacrifices awareness and safety for a nap that could have waited until cruising altitude. Mistake 5. Booking the red-eye flight. Saving money often feels like winning against the system. That's why red-eye flights, the ones that take off late at night and arrive early morning, seem like a bargain. The reality is different. Red-eyes are more prone to delays because aircraft used throughout the day accumulate scheduling issues. By evening, a single late plane creates a domino effect of setbacks. Airlines still fill these flights easily because passengers chasing lower fares accept the trade-off. That benefits the airline twice. First, they make money selling tickets on less desirable flights. Second, when delays inevitably pile up, the inconvenience lands squarely on passengers, not the company's bottom line. For travelers, red-eyes can mean fatigue, turbulence, and disrupted plans. For airlines, it's a way to squeeze profit out of less than ideal schedules without taking on extra responsibility. What adds to the advantage is how red-eye passengers rarely demand much service. Most just want to sleep through the night, which means fewer drink orders, fewer snack requests, and less effort from the crew. The quieter cabin keeps labor costs down while the airline still pockets the same ticket revenue. And since expectations are already low for overnight flights, complaints are minimal compared to daytime routes. It's the perfect setup. Passengers walk away exhausted, while airlines enjoy a flight that's cheaper to operate and easier to staff. Mistake 6. Ordering hot drinks. Coffee and tea feel like a comfort ritual in the sky, a small luxury in an otherwise cramped environment. But the water used for these drinks usually comes from onboard tanks that rarely get a thorough cleaning. Studies have found bacteria, including E. coli, growing in these water systems. That means every sip of hot tea or coffee is a gamble. Airlines avoid changing this because skipping regular tank maintenance saves time and money. Selling hot drinks also adds to in-flight service sales. The passenger pays, the airline profits, and the health risks stay under the radar. Choosing sealed bottled water or juice would cut down on these profits, so airlines quietly encourage the hot drink habit. What feels like a simple cup of coffee is really just another way the airline wins while the passenger takes the risk. Mistake 7. Treating the tray table like a dining table. Everyone has seen it. The flight attendant drops a tray, the food arrives, and the table comes down like a trusted surface. But tray tables are among the dirtiest spots on a plane. Studies have shown they often hold more bacteria than the lavatory flush button. Between flights, they're used for everything from diaper changing to a footrest. Wiping them thoroughly takes time crews often don't have. For airlines, less cleaning equals faster turnaround, which means more flights per day and more profit. For passengers, eating directly on the tray is like inviting germs into every bite. Bringing wipes or using a napkin creates a small barrier. But the bigger picture is that airlines benefit financially from not making tray cleanliness a priority. Mistake 8. Overinflating neck pillows. Neck pillows are travel lifesavers for many passengers, but inflating them fully on the ground is a mistake. As the plane climbs and cabin pressure drops, the air inside expands. Fully puffed pillows can literally burst mid-flight, startling an entire row. Here's where airlines benefit. Personal comfort is entirely the traveler's responsibility. Airlines don't need to provide pillows, blankets, or other extras unless they're paid add-ons. When a pillow pops, it costs the airline nothing. In fact, by letting passengers rely on their own gear, airlines cut down on expenses for providing amenities. Passengers may feel embarrassed or uncomfortable, but the airline's budget stays intact. Mistake 9. Not choosing seats strategically. The final mistake is one of the most profitable for airlines. Passengers often click any available seat when booking, assuming it doesn't matter, but it matters a lot. Sitting in the front means deplaning faster. Sitting in the back often leads to more personalized service. Window seats have their perks, but aisle seats make moving around easier. Airlines know this. That's why they push preferred seating options, charging extra for aisle seats, window seats, or rows with extra legroom. When passengers don't plan strategically, they're nudged into paying more later for comfort, convenience, or speed. The airline wins no matter what. If travelers don't pay, they sit wherever they're told. If they do, the airline collects extra revenue on top of the ticket price. And here's where the quiet genius of airline strategy shines. By presenting seat selection as optional, airlines create the illusion of choice. But in reality, the system is designed so that not choosing almost guarantees an uncomfortable spot. Middle seats, rows near noisy galleys, or seats without full recline are left behind for those who don't pay extra. Once on board, frustration kicks in, and passengers quickly realize the mistake, vowing to pay next time. That cycle drives recurring revenue. Airlines don't have to lift a finger to upsell aggressively because the discomfort of a poorly chosen seat does the work for them. Even loyalty programs feed into this by dangling free preferred seating as a perk, making passengers believe they're gaining value while airlines secure long-term customers. At the end of the day, the seat itself doesn't change. The difference is whether a traveler paid extra for relief or learned the hard way that in aviation, nothing is truly free. Flying has become second nature for millions of people, but behind the security lines and cabin doors, a different story plays out. Each of these 9 mistakes feels small in the moment. Turning off a vent, wearing shorts, ordering a cup of tea, falling asleep too early, booking a red eye, using the seat back pocket, leaning on a tray table, overinflating a pillow, skipping seat strategy. They all have one thing in common. Airlines quietly benefit every time. Whether it's cutting cleaning costs, filling unpopular flights, or selling add-ons, the system is built to profit from what passengers don't know. The good news is that knowledge changes everything. With just a little awareness, flying can shift from a frustrating, germ-filled survival exercise into a smoother, healthier, and more enjoyable journey. If these 9 tips help the next trip feel better, pass them along to someone who could use them. A friend who always orders airplane coffee, a coworker who lives in shorts at the airport, or anyone who has been tricked into booking a red-eye. And don't forget, more travel hacks are on the way, so subscribing ensures nothing gets missed. Safe travels, and see you at cruising altitude.